Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the KOR universe. This is part 4 of our series on the saga of KOR financial accountability. This presentation is a nonpartisan review of the actions made by the Council of Elders regarding the financial health of the Knights of Rizal. As a disclaimer, this presentation is purely my insight on the subject. My intention is informing the Knights of Rizal universe, as I call it, to put into light the tremendous steps taken by various parties to better the Knights of Rizal. This presentation would show what relevant items in the handbook could be traced in the Council of Elders order. I will try to highlight germane tenets found in the handbook as it pertains to the intent and relevance of the order to the Knights of Rizal. In the early part of January 2024, the Council of Elders promulgated this order. It was taken upon the directive of Chairman of the Council of Elders, Sir Renato S. Puno. This order was recommended by Sir Regis Romero, also a member of the Council of Elders. To learn more about the specifics of the order, I would invite you to watch the earlier parts of this series. The Knights of Rizal Official Handbook 3rd edition was published in March 2020. It contains important information about the Knights of Rizal. The solicited proposal from Reyes Tacondong spelled out the terms of services it will provide to the Knights of Rizal. It consists of 3 parts. Phase 1, review of significant processes. Phase 2, review of financial information. And Phase 3, review of internal audit reports. Sir Regis Romero recommended to focus on Phase 2, review of financial information. This approach was reached to avoid the substantial expenses involved in establishing new accounting and financial standards vis-a-vis the existing comprehensive work already done by the previous quote-unquote leadership. With Phase 2, the Knights of Rizal would incur a cost of 540,000 Philippine pesos, or around $10,000. Thus, it was so ordered by the Council of Elders. It reads on page 12 of the order: 1. To order the Supreme Council to pay the services of Reyes Tacondong and Company in the sum of 540,000 Philippine pesos. 2. To inform Reyes Tacondong and Company of the action of the Council of Elders and for them to commence their work soonest and finish the same within 2 months of the signing of appropriate contract with the Supreme Council, represented by Sir Raimundo A. Del Rosario, KGCR. To the uninitiated, one would wonder what the Council of Elders is empowered in the organization. With a very conscientious previous Supreme Council, the Council of Elders, it appears, is moving forward and without prejudice. Article 11, Section 2 of the Knights of Rizal bylaws gives the Council of Elders consultative, investigative, and judicial power in the organization. There are 2 conditions that is material to this order. These are matters affecting the integrity of the order and specifically the unlawful disposition of the assets of the organization. In the same breath, Article 11 of the Knights of Rizal bylaws proclaims that the Council of Elders is the last resort in the resolution of conflicts within the organization. Its power is terminal and resolution absolute. Having said that, this Knights of Rizal handbook has been revisited with official revisions 3 times. The first 2 was during the time of Sir Justo P. Torres in 1985, incidentally after the split in the Knights of Rizal hierarchy was resolved, and then again in 1993 by Sir Lamberto C. Nanquil due to the, quote, unprecedented organizational growth and expansion, end of quote. The preface of very first edition undermines the importance of the Knights of Rizal handbook. It was primarily a directional handbook, a Knights of Rizal Bible, as it were. This was elaborated by the foreword on this latest edition, written by Sir Elijo Ibanez. Serving as a basic guide and reference, it declared itself as the official authority for rules on discipline and the powers and duties of the Supreme Council and the Council of Elders. Now that we have established the official authority of the handbook in the Things Knights of Rizal, let us link this to the Council of Elders order. In this presentation, I will try to answer these questions. What is the connection between the 2 documents? What germane provisions of the handbook was a consequence in the order? And how does the handbook dictate the actions of members, officers that is appropriated in this order? As a matter of house rule, Sir Jerry, the immediate past Supreme Commander, is cited as having created an operational manual. Also, the immediate past Supreme Auditor, Sir Danilo, was also credited as having already, quote, conducted a thorough review of Knights of Rizal's finance and accounting processes and developed an accounting manual, standard operational procedures, end of quote. Because both of these documents are already in existence, Sir Regis proposed to, quote, proceed with only phase 2 of the Reyes Tacondong's proposal, end of quote. Additionally, Sir Regis encouraged the present council to review and potentially adopt the manuals prepared by Sirs Peralta and Calderon. Take note that both of these documents signed by Sirs Jerry and Danilo got special mention up front. In the Supreme Council, these documents affect primarily 2 job descriptions. Let's start at the job description that would have the most effect. In Article 9, Powers and Duties of the Supreme Council, Section 5 of the Knights of Rizal bylaws, the Supreme Exchequer or Treasurer, quote, shall be the custodian of the funds and properties of the order, end of quote. He prepares the budget, accounts the money received and dispersed, in charge of depositing funds of the order and also submitting a monthly financial statement. Corollary to the job description of the Supreme Exchequer or Treasurer is the job description of the Supreme Auditor. In the same article on Section 7, the Supreme Auditor shall, quote, review and audit the receipts, disbursements, and expenses, end of quote. The financial statement created by the Supreme Exchequer is not complete, according to the bylaws, without the certification of the Supreme Auditor as duly audited and reviewed. This official financial reports from the Knights of Rizal is the crux of this order, specifically the financial reports within the 30-month coverage period from 2021 to the first part of 2023. This is the scope of the review as reflected in the order. In plain English, this review covers the whole of 2021, the whole of 2022, and half the year of 2023. This would be covering the latter part of the previous Supreme Council, headed by Sir Elihu Ibanez, and the immediate previous Supreme Council, where Sirs Jerry and Danilo are Supreme Trustees. You can read here the 10 items that would require review. Please pause this video if you want to the complete enumeration. Also, there is a special item that is contained in the latter part of the order that is somehow not part of the enumerated items. It would be item 11 if it was. However, line 3, which contains the lifetime membership account, is mentioned specifically on part 4 of the handbook. Part 4 of the handbook, entitled Other Guidelines, restricts operation of the Lifetime Membership Fund. The handbook presents 2 clarifications on the fund. It should be placed in a special trust fund or not to be commingled with the general funds, and if it is to be used, only the accumulated interest from this should be spent on projects by the Knights of Rizal. It is interesting to note that of the 10 items to be reviewed, only the lifetime membership's operation is directed by the handbook. For instance, in Article 6, Dues and Assessment, it stops on defining the remittance of this fund and what specified period. How it is handled is not contained in this document. It could be assumed that an internal financial manual would be the appropriate place for this. This only emphasizes the special treatment to be accorded to the Lifetime Membership Fund. Going back to the items to be reviewed, chapter membership fees is the first account mentioned. In the actual order, it directed Reyes Tacondong to review and examine chapter membership agreement, and also along with chapter representatives, the member database would be assessed and membership fees to be compared to official receipts, deposit slip, among others. Item 2, rentals and lease contracts would also be examined. Gross income collections from rentals will be checked for compliance by verifying the rental income against the association statement of account, sales books, cash receipts books, official receipts, and bank statements. Aside from this verification, Reyes Tacondong will also perform analytical and data analysis of rental income with the corresponding contracts and relevant supporting documents to determine consistency. Succinctly, items 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8, the same process will be applied for receipts and disbursements of the following accounts that would include lifetime membership and coffee table book accounts, donations, National Rizal Youth Leadership Institute, and International Assembly. Receipts and disbursements that should be readily available, as dictated by the handbook. How? Clearly in Part 4 of the handbook, entitled Other Guidelines, on the last page, it dictates that the financial position of the Knights of Rizal is to be declared yearly and during the Supreme Council elections. It is not official without the proper audit. A financial position from accounts that would include lifetime membership and coffee table book accounts, donations, National Rizal Youth Leadership Institute, and International Assembly, from membership fees, rentals, merchandise, and tax obligations. As far as the association's employees, Reyes Takondong would be comparing the average rates per employee or per hour by group to the prior year and reviewing the number of employees in the year-to-date listing of amounts per employee. Furthermore, employees management are an active participant in this review. The procedures to be performed by Reyes Takondong will consist primarily of reading, analyzing, and commenting on the information made available by the association's management. The order, in fact, assumes cooperation from the employees' management. It stated, quote, "We expect that we will have access to collaborating documents and an open line of communication with management to clarify the information provided to us or request additional information and/or documents if necessary." End of quote. In the continuation of part 4, we will highlight Knights of Rizal Management, describe Knights of Rizal Incorporation, and define the special item in this review of the financial information.